It's happening quietly. Store shelves look full, but the supplies that really matter are slipping away in plain sight. You walk into the store thinking everything's normal until one day, that one item you've always counted on just isn't there. No restock, no substitute, gone. By the time most people realize what's happening, it'll be too late. This isn't about toilet paper or canned soup. This is about the real backbone of survival, the items preppers are quietly sweeping off shelves before the rest of the world even knows they're in danger. Because once they're gone, they're not coming back anytime soon. So let's count down the 10 critical survival items disappearing faster than anyone realizes and how you can still grab them before they vanish for good. In every major crisis, the pattern is always the same. First, people panic. Then, supply chains break down. And finally, those who didn't prepare find themselves staring at empty shelves and wondering what happened. But this time, it's different because the shortages aren't dramatic or obvious. They're creeping in slowly, hidden beneath out-of-stock labels and quiet price hikes. Right now, global conflicts are choking off trade routes. Extreme weather is damaging crops and production lines. Governments are tightening regulations on imports, exports, and even storage limits. And while most people scroll through the news without noticing, the smart preppers are paying attention. They're seeing the signs and they're acting early. The red flags are already there. And if you wait for the headlines to confirm it, you'll already be behind the curve. So don't worry, this isn't a panic video. This is a wake-up call. Because today, we're breaking down the 10 most important survival items quietly disappearing from the market right now and what you can do if you can't find them. Item number 10, batteries and rechargeables. Let's kick this off with the first domino, the one that quietly knocks everything else down when it falls. Batteries. You can't power your flashlight, radio, headlamp, or even some medical gear without them. They're small, easy to overlook, and absolutely critical. And right now, they're getting harder to find than most people realize. See, there's a global lithium shortage brewing. Between electric vehicles, smartphones, and renewable tech, the world's demand for lithium-ion batteries has skyrocketed, and it's pushing smaller consumers, like you and me, to the back of the line. AA, AAA, 9V, and especially 18,650 lithium cells, the kind that power your high-performance flashlights or solar generators, are already seeing supply chain slowdowns. If that's not bad enough, the cheap, off-brand batteries flooding online marketplaces are unreliable. Some are even counterfeit, meaning they'll die faster, leak acid, or worse, explode. Now here's where the smart preppers are one step ahead. They're shifting away from disposable batteries and moving toward lithium rechargeables. Think Eneloop or 18,650 lithium-ion cells paired with a small solar charging setup. Why? Because when the grid's down, your recharging options disappear fast. Solar chargers and USB power banks give you independence. You can recharge anywhere, anytime, without relying on stores or the grid. If you want to take it up another notch, label and rotate your battery sets. Keep them charged every few months and note their purchase date. Batteries degrade over time, even unused ones. And remember, extreme heat or cold can shorten their life, so store them in a cool, dry place. The thing about batteries is they're always the first to go when disaster strikes because everyone suddenly realizes how much of their emergency gear depends on them. Don't wait for the blackout to remind you. Stock up now on quality rechargeables, grab a solar charger, and stay powered long after the lights go out. Item number 9, medical and first aid supplies. If batteries are the first domino, medical supplies are the quiet panic nobody talks about until it's too late. Most people assume first aid gear will always be on store shelves until a health scare hits, and suddenly every pharmacy is bone dry. Antibiotic ointments, sterile gauze, iodine, gloves, alcohol wipes, they're all being quietly redirected right now to hospitals, government stockpiles, and disaster response agencies. Remember what happened in 2020? You couldn't find gloves or masks for months. That same pattern is creeping back, only this time, it's deeper. Supply chains for basic medical items are stretched thin due to manufacturing cuts, higher transport costs, and restricted exports. Add in new global conflicts and natural disasters, and you've got hospitals consuming way more than usual, leaving less for everyone else. The danger here is subtle. You won't notice the shortage until you actually need something. Maybe your kid cuts their hand and suddenly the store shelves are empty of sterile bandages. Or you go looking for antibiotic ointment and the only options left are expired or watered down. That's not the moment to realize you should have stocked up. So here's what to do now. Quietly build a small but comprehensive medical cache. Start with the basics: adhesive bandages, sterile gauze, medical tape, nitrile gloves, antiseptics, antibiotic ointments, and a good digital thermometer. Then expand into longer-term needs: painkillers, antihistamines, antidiarrheal meds, and electrolyte packets. But don't just buy them, rotate them. Medical supplies, especially ointments and medications, have expiration dates that actually matter. Set a reminder every 6 months to check your kit and replace anything that's expired or low. And while you're at it, learn a bit of basic first aid. It doesn't take long. A weekend class, an online course, or even a YouTube tutorial can make a massive difference, because owning the gear means nothing if you don't know how to use it. When a crisis hits, pharmacies and hospitals will be the first to run dry. Your own preparation could mean the difference between a small wound healing or turning into an infection nightmare. Don't wait for the next outbreak or panic wave to start grabbing supplies. Build your kit now while you still can, and you'll thank yourself when everyone else is rushing to empty shelves. Item number 8, freeze-dried meals. Let's talk about one of the most sought-after prepper essentials right now: freeze-dried meals. These things are flying off shelves faster than ammo during a crisis. Why? Because they're convenient, lightweight, and have a shelf life that stretches up to 25 years. That's 2.5 decades of ready-to-eat insurance sitting quietly on your shelf. And the secret's out: everyone wants them. The problem is, survival food companies can't keep up. Between rising demand, factory slowdowns, and global shipping delays, even major brands like Mountain House and Augustin Farms are running low or quietly hiking prices. What used to be a quick add-to-cart item has now become a notify-me-when-available waiting game. And when the next big emergency hits, whether it's a natural disaster, geopolitical crisis, or another pandemic, these meals will vanish instantly. Freeze-dried meals aren't just popular because they last long. They're popular because they're foolproof. No cooking, no prep, just add water. That's gold when you're in survival mode and don't want to waste fuel or effort. But here's the catch: convenience comes at a cost. A single serving meal can run $8 to $10, and that adds up fast if you're trying to feed a family. So what's the smarter move? Start dehydrating your own meals. Seriously, it's easier than you think. A decent home dehydrator costs less than a weekend out, and you can use it to dry fruits, veggies, meats, even full meals like pasta or chili. Vacuum seal them, throw in an oxygen absorber, and you've got long-term storage that rivals store-bought options at a fraction of the cost. Homemade dehydrated food gives you control too. You decide the ingredients, the portions, and the flavor. No mystery powder or sky-high sodium levels. And while they won't last 25 years, properly stored dehydrated meals can easily survive 5 to 10 years, which is more than enough for most emergency situations. If you can find freeze-dried meals right now, grab a few to build your foundation, but don't rely on them completely. Think of them as your emergency easy button. Then use home dehydration to fill in the gaps and stretch your budget. That way, when everyone else is complaining about shortages, you'll be sitting on shelves full of shelf-stable, homemade, long-lasting meals and total peace of mind. Item number 7, propane and fuel canisters. When the grid goes down, fuel instantly becomes gold. You can have all the food and gear in the world, but if you can't cook or boil water, it's useless. And right now, propane, butane, and those small camping gas canisters are quietly disappearing from stores. Not because of panic buying, but because of supply chain choke points. Here's the issue: most of our small fuel canisters are imported, and with ongoing shipping disruptions, environmental restrictions, and global demand spikes, they're getting harder to restock. Add in more people camping, prepping, and going off-grid, and you've got a perfect storm for shortages. The moment a power grid failure hits or a big storm rolls through, those shelves empty in hours. It's easy to underestimate how dependent we are on these little canisters until you can't find one. They power camp stoves, heaters, lanterns, and even small generators. They're compact, efficient, and clean burning, but when everyone's buying them at once, they vanish almost overnight. So, how do you stay ahead? First, store smart. Propane tanks and butane canisters last for years when kept in a cool, dry, ventilated area. But safety comes first. Don't stash them inside your living space. Keep them outdoors, away from heat sources, and check them periodically for leaks or corrosion. Next, diversify. Don't rely on one fuel type. Alcohol stoves, wood gasifiers, and even rocket stoves can bridge the gap when propane runs dry. You can make a simple alcohol stove from a soda can and it'll burn denatured alcohol, which is far easier to find during shortages. Or go old school with charcoal and wood, just make sure you have a safe outdoor space to use them. Also, learn to cook efficiently off-grid. Use lids to trap heat, pre-soak your grains or beans to reduce cook time, and batch cook when possible to save fuel. Every minute you shave off cooking saves precious gas. Propane and butane are the backbone of modern prepping, but like all good resources, they're not infinite. Get ahead while they're still easy to find, and build a flexible system that doesn't collapse when the tanks run empty. Item number 6, water filters and purification tabs. When the taps run dry or that murky brown water starts pouring out, most people panic. But preppers, they already know this. Water is survival priority number 1. You can go weeks without food, but only about 3 days without clean water before things get dangerous. And yet, here's the part nobody's noticing. Water filters and purification tablets are disappearing faster than you think. During every major storm, flood, or crisis, products like Life Straws, Sawyer Minis, and Catadine filters sell out in hours. The moment disaster headlines hit, shelves are stripped bare, not by panic shoppers, but by resellers and bulk buyers who know these tools are gold. Add in rising costs of activated carbon, global shipping delays, and environmental regulations on water treatment chemicals, and suddenly, clean water gets a whole lot harder to guarantee. Think about it. Without a working filter, even a simple blackout becomes a nightmare. Municipal pumps stop running, bottled water vanishes, and those who didn't prepare start boiling questionable water over candles or camp stoves. Not exactly ideal. So here's what the smart preppers are doing. They're not waiting until it's an emergency. They're buying water filters in bulk now, storing extra purification tablets, and learning backup methods. A drop or two of unscented household bleach per liter of water can disinfect in a pinch. Activated charcoal filters, solar stills, or even sand gravel DIY filters can make unsafe water drinkable when commercial filters are gone. It's also about maintenance. Your gear won't last forever. Filter membranes can clog, tabs expire, and even the best systems wear out. Rotate them, test them, and keep backups. Because when the next grid failure or supply shock hits, you don't want to be one of those people frantically Googling how to make river water safe. The truth is simple. Whoever controls clean water during a crisis controls survival. And once the last filter is gone from store shelves, no amount of money will buy you another. Item number 5, manual tools and hand crank gear. We live in a world that runs on convenience, power tools, electric openers, rechargeable everything. But here's the catch. When the power's out, all that fancy tech turns into dead weight. Suddenly, it's the humble manual tools that become priceless. And yet, they're quietly disappearing. Manufacturers are shifting focus toward digital, automated, and battery-powered gadgets. The old-school manual can openers, grain grinders, and hand crank radios. Many are discontinued or being produced in tiny batches because the market for manual labor has basically vanished. But when the grid goes down, these are the tools that keep you fed, informed, and sane. What happens if you've got a pantry full of canned goods but no way to open them? Your flashlight battery dies, but you don't have a crank light. You're cut off from the news, but your radio's a digital one that needs power. It sounds like a rookie mistake, yet it's exactly what most people overlook. Preppers know better. They're picking up manual tools wherever they can. Garage sales, thrift stores, and even online auctions. A sturdy hand grinder can turn wheat into flour when supermarkets close. A crank radio can connect you to emergency updates long after phones go silent. And a manual can opener? That's dinner access guaranteed. Here's the mindset shift. Every time you rely on electricity, ask yourself, what's my backup when the power's gone? That's how you spot your weak points. Invest in non-electric versions now while they're still cheap and available. In a crisis, the people with hand tools are the ones who stay calm. They keep cooking, keep communicating, and keep living. Everyone else? They're fumbling in the dark, waiting for the lights to come back on. Manual tools aren't just gear, they're independence in physical form. And the way they're vanishing from store shelves, that kind of independence might soon be priceless. Item number 4, seeds and heirloom crops. Seeds are the new currency of survival, and right now, they're disappearing faster than you think. While everyone's fixated on food prices at the grocery store, The true long-term preppers know the real crisis is happening underground literally. Seeds, especially heirloom and non-GMO varieties, are being bought out, hoarded, and in some cases restricted. And that's not by accident. Here's the truth. The world's food system is tightening its grip. Major corporations now control the majority of seed production, and many of those seeds are hybrid or genetically modified, which means they can't reproduce. You plant them once, they grow, but their offspring? Useless. It's the perfect business model, total dependence. But for preppers, that's a nightmare, because when supply chains break down, there's no guarantee you'll find more. Heirloom seeds, on the other hand, are freedom. They're self-reproducing. Plant them, harvest them, save the seeds, and you can grow your own food indefinitely. It's food independence in its purest form, and that's exactly why demand is skyrocketing. Seed vaults are selling out, small suppliers are overwhelmed, and many once common varieties like old tomatoes, beans, and herbs are disappearing completely. Add in unpredictable weather, crop failures, and new regulations on seed imports, and labeling, and the window to build your own seed bank is closing fast. Governments and corporations are prioritizing large-scale agriculture, not individual sustainability. And when that next global shock hits, be it a pandemic, conflict, or climate disaster, the people with seeds will be the ones still eating fresh food while everyone else fights over canned beans. Here's what smart preppers are doing. They're building seed libraries, buying non-GMO heirlooms in bulk, labeling them, and storing them in cool, dry places. They're learning seed-saving skills, how to dry, store, and rotate seeds year after year. They're even testing small garden patches now before it's a life-or-death skill. So yes, stock up on food, but remember, food runs out. Seeds don't. Once they're gone from circulation, it could take years or decades to recover those lost varieties. Item number 3, antibiotics and veterinary equivalents. This next one isn't talked about enough. Antibiotics. A single untreated infection can take you out faster than starvation ever will. And that's exactly why access to antibiotics is being quietly restricted all over the world. Regulations are tightening, and not just for humans. Even veterinary antibiotics, which used to be a loophole for preppers, are now being tracked, monitored, and pulled from open sale. What used to be as simple as walking into a feed store or ordering fish antibiotics online is now a red flag for regulators. Pharmacies are requiring prescriptions for nearly everything, and in a crisis scenario when hospitals are overwhelmed or inaccessible, that means you could be on your own. Why is this happening? Overuse, misuse, and antibiotic resistance have forced governments to crack down on distribution. It's understandable from a public health angle, but it leaves a massive gap for self-reliant individuals trying to prepare responsibly. Here's the smart prepper's move: education and legality first. Consult your doctor or vet now while you still can. Learn which antibiotics are safe, how to store them, and what their expiration timelines are. Understand which ones are cross-compatible between humans and animals, but never take anything without professional guidance. Stock what's legal, safe, and properly labeled. And think beyond just pills. Build a broader medical strategy. Include antiseptics, wound dressings, natural antibacterials like honey and iodine, and learn basic infection control. Knowledge is your first line of defense. Supplies are the second. Storage also matters. Heat, moisture, and time can degrade antibiotics fast. So vacuum sealing and cool, dark storage can extend their life significantly. Rotating them out periodically ensures they're still viable when you actually need them. The big takeaway here is this: the world's antibiotic supply is fragile, and the next pandemic or manufacturing shortage could wipe out availability overnight. You don't need to hoard hundreds of pills. You need a small, informed, legal stockpile and the knowledge to use it wisely. Item number 2, solar gear and power banks. Here's something nobody's saying out loud. Solar gear is quietly disappearing, and it's not just because of preppers. Everyone from campers to suburban homeowners is realizing one thing: the grid isn't as reliable as it used to be. Rolling blackouts, energy rationing, extreme weather, it's all becoming the new normal. So when people start losing power, what's the first thing they reach for? Portable solar panels, battery banks, and compact generators. And guess what? They're selling out faster than manufacturers can make them. The demand has exploded in just the last few years. The moment a storm hits or a region experiences a blackout, entire shelves of solar gear vanish within days. Supply chain delays, shipping costs, and rare metal shortages, especially lithium, are all pushing these products into premium territory. What used to be a niche market for hobbyists is now a global race for energy independence. When the grid goes down, your lights, fridge, and communication devices don't care about your panic. They just go silent. A small folding solar panel or even a hand-sized power bank could be the difference between staying informed and being completely cut off. And the smart preppers, they're not waiting for the next disaster to hit the headlines. They're buying now, quietly, strategically, before the rest of the world catches on. And let's be clear, this shortage isn't temporary. The push for electric vehicles, renewable energy, and battery-based storage means every ounce of lithium, nickel, and cobalt is already spoken for. Manufacturers are rationing production, prioritizing industrial-scale clients over everyday consumers. That's why now, not later, is the time to secure your solar setup. Start small if you have to. A solar power bank that can charge your phone, a foldable panel for radios or lanterns, a mid-sized generator for your essentials. Learn how to use it, store it, and rotate your batteries, because when the lights go out for good, you'll want to be the one still powered up. Item number 1, shelf-stable protein. And finally, the number 1 item quietly disappearing is shelf-stable protein. Not sugar, not pasta, not rice, protein. When a real crisis hits, carbs might keep you alive, but protein keeps you strong. It repairs your muscles, fuels your brain, and keeps your body from breaking down under stress. And yet, right now, canned meats, jerky, protein powders, and even beans are becoming harder to find and pricier every month. The problem isn't just supply and demand, it's production. Meat processing plants are struggling with rising cost feed shortages and transportation bottlenecks. Meanwhile, global conflicts and weather extremes are hammering crops like soy and peas, the base for most plant proteins. That means even the so-called alternatives are running low. Add to that the rise of lab-grown protein investments, where companies are quietly shifting focus away from traditional shelf-stable products, and you've got the perfect storm for scarcity. Walk through any grocery store right now and you'll see it. Smaller cans, fewer options, and higher prices. The big brands aren't increasing output. They're shrinking packaging and spreading supply thinner. The result? It looks like the shelves are stocked, but they're really not. And when the next disruption hits, whether it's another pandemic, shipping freeze, or economic shock, those invisible shortages will turn visible overnight. For preppers, that's a red alert. You can live on rice and pasta for a while, sure, but without protein, your body starts to fail. That's why smart preppers are loading up on canned chicken, tuna, Spam, jerky, lentils, and protein powder now. They're vacuum sealing nuts, rotating stock, and keeping their supplies cool and dry. Some are even experimenting with home dehydration, turning ground beef, beans, and eggs into long-lasting shelf-stable versions. The trick isn't just buying bulk, it's buying smart. Mix animal and plant proteins, balance quick-access foods with long-term storage, and never rely on one source. Because when the world's food system hiccups again, and it will, the stores won't be out of cereal first. They'll be out of the one thing your body can't fake: real, complete protein. So if you only stock one thing after watching this, make it protein. It's the hardest resource to replace, the most expensive to produce, and the first to vanish in every crisis. You can stretch a bag of rice, but you can't stretch nutrition. Protein is survival fuel, and when it's gone, it's gone. By the time most people realize what's missing, it's already too late. That's how every shortage starts: quiet, unnoticed, until the shelves go bare. Prepping is the difference between watching the chaos unfold and calmly knowing you've already handled it. The smartest preppers don't wait for headlines or panic buyers. They move early, stock smart, and think long-term. So before the next wave hits, take a moment, look around, and ask yourself, are you ready, or are you just hoping things stay easy a little longer? Don't wait for the panic, because once it starts, there's no catching up. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 disappearing items have you already noticed going scarce in your area? Drop a comment below, and let's keep the prepper community one step ahead together. If you found this useful, hit that like button. Share it with a friend who still thinks shortages are just temporary. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week we're diving into 9 survival hacks preppers don't want you to know. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one.